a lot of energy. There was a activity after school, a couple days a week, that the middle school gym teacher was running for wrestling. And so something I just signed up for. My parents didn't sign me up for. I wanted to do it. It was in the old wrestling room, which is now I think the football locker room. It was probably about 1/10 of the size of this room. And we had mats with quilted mats on the wall. It was very 1950s, but we rolled around and got sweaty, and that's how it got started. Ricky Stone, David Fisher, Jerry Levine, Ricky Sorkin, and these guys, they all won state. So I came into the program when it was really peaking for the first time. And so there was a lot of talent, and there was a lot of expectation because there was so much talent. You could come in as a little beginner, which is what I was in 6th or 7th grade, and just pick a guy and copy him. Stay like Jerry Levine, tough guy, hard-nosed dude. Could I be like that? Maybe. Ricky Sorkin, smart wrestler, used his whole body, was great on his feet, but he was really great on top. He would score when he was on top from any different way. Can I do that stuff? So I was around a lot of really good guys. So I remember warming up for the finals of districts, which meant that you made the state tournament. And this was in 1980, 79-80 season. And I was warming up for the district finals with Tommy and David and Butch, all projected state champions. And I remember Tommy saying to me, "What are you doing here?" He was joking, obviously, but it was like, what am I doing here? How did this happen? And going from a not successful sophomore to state qualifier by junior year was just a function of being in a room with so many good guys and a great coach, and just being surrounded by talent and people leading by example, even guys who weren't captains, working so hard. There was a couple of days in the 70s where school was closed. There'd be an 8-foot snowdrift in front of these doors out in front of the gym, and we would swim over the snow to get in to wrestle. Someone sent me a video the other day of a Beachwood football game from my senior year. I was out that week, but I watched Jeff and Butch play. And both of them were such amazing athletes that it was like it brought a smile to my face and a tear to my eye at the same time. They were amazing. Butch was an amazing athlete. He walked in to Beachwood, I think 7th grade. His family moved up here, and I don't think he ever wrestled before. He was the best on the team by the 4th practice. And he was the kind of guy that he had the sky's the limit written all over him. It was kind of a sad thing that it was kind of an underachievement, but he had so much talent that it was ridiculous. The three of us, Butch, Jeff, and I were the best of friends, but Jeff and I really came from similar family situations. By the time we became the captains together in the 1980-81 season, I can't say that we had grown up very much. We were still kind of the goofy guys, but I think we were those guys at that point that had to set an example for the young kids. And Scott Peters was there. He was a sophomore that year, and maybe he learned something from us, or maybe he didn't, I don't know. But being captains together and getting that responsibility, it made me grow up a little bit. Just all rooting for each other and being there for each other and spending basically every day together. Jeff not making it to the state tournament his senior year, it was disappointing for me. I wanted to go there with him. I wanted to go. It was just Butch and I senior year, and it wasn't 100% what it could have been because Jeff didn't make it down. And I don't remember exactly what happened, but he was always a team player, and he probably could have maybe gone a different weight, but for the team, he did something different. Coach I was probably the factor that led to me having any success in life and being successful in wrestling. I was not a favorite with the teachers at Beachwood High School, to say the least. And it's not that Coach I made me study. He was the only person that would get in my face and say, "You're not working hard enough. You're not doing this right. You need to practice this another 1,000 times. You need to do something that's painful. You need to work through the pain." He would not take less than my best effort. And eventually that taught me a whole lesson in life. The wrestling was a very important thing for 4 or 5 years of my life. And then it wasn't. And the lessons I learned from wrestling at Beachwood, from Coach I, how his style of coaching, his style of motivating, just carried on through life. So he was instrumental. Here's my father, and here's Coach I. He's got to be just below my father, because that wouldn't be right. But Coach I had an influence on me that he probably doesn't even realize. I was 4-12 as a sophomore in varsity. I made state the next year, and I was state runner-up the year after that. 24 months from a loser to state runner-up. So maybe that was an impact. That it's possible. If Michael Goldberg could do it, then it's not because I was Butch Lapsley or Jeff Tolan naturally. I was Michael Goldberg with basically a really good coach and good examples in the wrestling room, and just people that would not let me give up. So that was probably the impact. But being 40-something years ago, I don't know that that's really an impact anymore. I came back and coached quite a bit over the years. Some years I was officially on the staff, but as I got busier in my practice, I really didn't have time to be here at 3:30 as much as I really wanted to be. But Beachwood Wrestling gave me 1,000 times more than I gave it. When I got to school, I took all of that motivation and all of that getting through the pain and working until it hurt, all of those lessons that I learned in not this room exactly, but in this room, directly transferred to school. I studied, and friends would go out at night, and I would be just like I was in this wrestling room. What is the other guy that I'm going to wrestle this week? What is he doing to get ready? How many miles is he running? How many sprints is he doing? How many minutes of drilling is he doing? I have to double that. If I had 200 pages to read, I not only read them all, but I would outline them. I would take the extra step and think, what do I have to do to be successful? I just see a direct correlation. I don't know if I saw it in the moment, but in the long run, what I learned in the wrestling room, specifically what I learned from Coach I, in terms of working and pain and pushing through pain and not being afraid to fail and not being in your head too much, just basically trusting yourself and your training and what you're doing to prepare, directly translated to college and to law school and to everything I've done since. Be prepared to get roughed up. Be prepared to be uncomfortable. Be prepared to push yourself beyond what you ever thought you could do, and you give yourself the best chance to be successful. And if you go through that process, even if you're not the most successful, even if you didn't make state tournament, or even if you didn't have a winning record, if you go through the process and give it everything you can, you will get what you're supposed to get out of it, which is the toughness, the ability to endure, to persevere, to take getting knocked down or beat up, get up and keep practicing and put yourself in a position to be more successful. You don't have to really win for that. That winning's a bonus.